Welcome to the coming apocalypse. Evangelist and pastor Paul Begley will take you on a journey into the end times prophecy. He'll examine current world events and explain how they relate to the end times. For decades, Pastor Begley has provided people all over the world with an understanding of today's world events from a biblical perspective. Now, here's your host, Pastor Paul Begley.
Serious? Are we live? Oh, it's so good to have everybody here on Primetime Live. Wow, we're going to have a great program tonight. Hang on, everybody. It's going to get crazy in here tonight. Wow, because did you see what's going on in Hong Kong? Do you guys see what's going on in Hong Kong? Everybody doing kung fu fighting. Those kids are fast as lightning. They got the big sticks. It's getting frightening. But now the police are firing live ammunition. Oh, guys, Fair Use Act in good faith. This work contains fair use of copyrighted and non-copyrighted images from the public domain and the web for the non-commercial, non-profitable educational purposes only. This broadcast tonight is free of charge. And we're broadcasting right here from the Salvation Station down in the Begley bunker here in West Lafayette, Indiana. So good to have Brock Begley producing the program here tonight. Yes, put a quick shout out to NobleGoldInvestments.com. No Jackie Chan jokes, please. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Use the promo code Paul Begley. And look, guys, seriously, it's a Christian company. They're family owned. Look, they'll help you with your 401k. If you're retired, maybe you got a windfall. You just sold some property. You just got your retirement in. It could be, an insurance settlement or an inheritance. Pick up the phone tomorrow. Call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Get a hold of Colin Plume or one of his associates and say, tell him Pastor Paul Begley said to call. You're ready to diversify. You're thinking about setting up maybe a gold IRA. Price of gold's going to rise. It's rising. Price of silver is already rising, and it's still got a ways to go. I don't know exactly where it's going to wind up, but it's going to go up some. No doubt about that. All indicators are pointing in that direction. But anyway, find out. Let the experts talk to you. I don't know. Okay? There's a Christian company, family-owned, good people at NobleGoldInvestment.com. All right. Okay, guys. Yes, I know we're doing a little kung fu fighting, but we got a great broadcast for you tonight. No doubt about it. Quickly, let me give you a quick update on the key story. Yes, the protesters have got the big sticks. They heard me. Somebody's sending my show over there to Hong Kong, apparently. But they were wielding these big clubs, and the mob attacks. It got ugly in there. You could see it. A little kung fu fighting was going on between the police and the protesters. Finally, the protesters were winning, carrying big sticks, and so the police pulled their guns from their holsters, and live shots were fired. Now, we don't have any reports of anyone shot. Apparently, they were firing them in the air as warning shots. But, guys, there it is. There's the pictures. They pulled these guns. They were getting beat down with the sticks, so they didn't know what else to do but pull their pistols. It's getting scary now, guys, okay? It's been 12 straight weekends, Brock. 12 straight weekends. The protesters continue. The footage shows a group of armed protesters, many equipped with helmets, gas masks, rushing a riot police with baseball bats, sticks, rocks, metal rods, and other crude weapons. The protesters did not have, look at these sticks they had. The protesters did not have guns because there's no guns allowed in Hong Kong. And the protesters are trying to keep, well, the bottom line is this, they don't want to come under communism. But they're already up against it when they don't have any weapons. Guys, let's be honest. If President Xi runs those tanks and the soldiers in there with their guns, it's over. Okay? And that would be a bloodbath. And we're praying to God they don't do it. But I'm telling you, China is really on edge right now. Hong Kong, even as the outnumbered police officers started retreating, the protesters continue to push them back. And the latest alarming video indicated a mixed response from Twitter users, some arguing the protesters are acting out of self-defense. Others are noting that the video clearly shows the Hong Kong demonstrators have turned violent. Well, when you had 1,000 armored trucks, including tanks, armored vehicles, and thousands of troops just over the bridge ready to come in on you, you would get a little bit upset, especially if you know it's a communist regime about ready to overrun your city. I think if you live, whatever city you live in, whoever wrote this article, who wrote this article? Russia Today. Well, they're partly communists there. That's the propaganda machine of the Russian government. If you Americans understand this, could you imagine if you had an army getting ready to invade your city? How would you respond? Sit back and have iced tea? Say, okay, I'll do whatever you say. Guys, listen, there's so much going on right now that you won't believe the stuff. I mean, have you guys heard about what's going on in Flint, Michigan with the sewage? They spilled 2 million gallons of raw sewage, untreated, big, huge tanks overflowing with, get a song, Brock, just get a song. We'll be back we'll be right back in just a minute.
The earth can shake, the sky come down, the mountains all fall to the ground. But I will fear none of those things. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Dark waters rise, the thunder pounds, the wheels of war are going round. And all the walls are crumbling. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Hide me underneath your wings. Hide me deep inside your heart. In your refuge, cover me. The world can shake, but Lord, I'm making you my hiding place. The wind will blow, the rain can pour, the deluge break, the tempest roars. But in that storm, my spirit sings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Hide me underneath your wings. Hide me deep inside your heart. In your refuge, cover me. The world can shake, but Lord, I'm making you my hiding place. Now on that day, you call for me. Someday when time no more shall be, and I say, death, where is your sting? Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. me. Someday when time no more shall be, well, I say, death, where is your sting? Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, and in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilences. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor by the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilences that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord thy refuge, even the Most High thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. And they shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion, and the dragon shalt thou trample under your feet. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, I will answer him, and I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him, and with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Oh, I tell you, you just can't beat it. When you read the word of the Lord, it will give you, it's a lamp unto your feet, it's a light unto your path, and the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. You know, blessed is a man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in that law he doth meditate day and night. Like a tree planted by the rivers of water, he shall not be moved. His leaves will not wither. He will bear his fruit in his season. And whatever he puts his hand to, it's going to prosper, prosper, prosper in Jesus' name. Oh, but the chaff are not so. They're like the wind. They're like the chaff driven with the wind. The ungodly. They can't prosper because, well, they've pretty well just tossed to and fro, believing just anything that comes along, instead of getting rooted and grounded in the word of the Lord. Somebody say amen. 1,300 people with us here tonight at YouTube. Want to say hi to everybody already at New Live Stream, Roku Satellite Television. Want to say hi to everybody at paulbegleyprophecy.com. Everybody watching over here at Periscope, and those of you listening on the direct radio line. So these, let's go to Hong Kong again real fast. Again, club wielding mobs attack Hong Kong police. What? No. Who wrote this article? You mean armed police officers attack innocent citizens peaceably protesting in the streets of Hong Kong? Do you see how they can twist a story? It's a story about a bunch of children holding up the American flags and singing the Star-Spangled Banner. They don't want to be under communism. They all just want to be free. But then the commies, with their guns and armies, stand and stare at them almost day and night. They tell them they will have to be under their umbrella unless they stand and fight. Somebody get Florence Henderson in here right now. She could help us. Look at the ugliness there, guys. Look at the ugliness. Look at the madness. Look at the chaos. Look at the carnage. Hong Kong said they did arrest 36 people. You'll never see them again. But unless their kidneys show up in somebody else's bodies in some other part of the world. There you can see the kids getting upset. They're taking their sticks now and then they're throwing their sticks in the air. But at the same time also, it's getting crazy. Water cannons, there's pepper spray, there's tear gas, there's sticks and staves, and there's guns, and it's getting really dangerous now. And a lot of prayer is needed. But at the same time, can we, somebody pick up the phone and call President Xi and tell him to back off? These people have a right to be free. Oh, by the way, while that's going on, quickly here, did you hear about the jet that was flying? It left England and it didn't have a co-pilot, which that's scary. I mean, anytime you fly commercial, there's always a pilot and a co-pilot. Well, they didn't have a co-pilot. I don't know if that's the norm or what. But unfortunately, the pilot got sick. He got very sick. He passed out and he was sick, needed oxygen. And this airplane is in the air flying from England. There it is, at jet2.com. So they had to get on the phone and said, is there anybody in the plane that can fly a plane? Is there a doctor in the house? In this case, is there a pilot in the plane? There was a dude sitting in the back row who said, well, I can fly little planes, maybe. Gets up there, put him in the cockpit, and they get on the phone. And this dude is able to land the plane safely in Portugal. Unbelievable. Can you imagine being on that flight? Jet2 did tweet out, we would like to apologize to our customers for traveling on flight LS765 from Manchester to Madrid. Unfortunately, we had to make a slight deviation, landing in Portugal due to an onboard medical situation. But we are working to help make things right, and so we appreciate everybody and your patience. Thank you for being a customer on jet2.com. Jet2.com. Okay, just saying. Put a co-pilot in the plane, guys. Seriously, what are they thinking? All right, what are they thinking? Oh, by the way, who owns Jet2? Just so you know, United Airlines. Fly the friendly skies. Oh, and by the way, massive sinkhole opened up in Florida. Just so you know, guys, have you seen the picture of this? What started as a small 3-foot hole is now become a 60-foot sinkhole. I'll show the people over at Periscope so they can take a look at this. What? You got that, Brock? Show the people on the screen. I mean, this is insanity. That's insane. What? Florida sinkholes opening up. Residents of Keystone Heights are terrified and believing that the growing sinkhole are even in their homes. Brock, I have it here if you lost it. It's just insanity. There it is. What? 60-foot sinkhole opened up in Keystone Heights in Florida. That's scary, guys. Don't go near there. But they still know it's not done yet, guys. This thing's going to go, okay? This thing is going to completely go. So keep an eye on that. So we got sinkholes opening up. We got planes without pilots. We got big sticks being swung. But none of that, and that's bad. But let's go to Flint, Michigan, where it's really, really serious. I mean, guys, seriously, the title of the headline is "The City of Flint is Damned." That's the actual title of the article that they're showing, because what's happened here, the Flint, in Flint, Michigan. You guys, we know about what, remember when they made the crazy Flint water plant? I mean, do you imagine they were getting the water from Lake Huron. There was nice, clean water. It was being treated correctly. Everybody was fine. But somebody got a really weird idea, real harebrained idea to go and change the water flow from Lake Huron to the dirty Flint River. But they didn't put the right chemicals in the water, so they gave it to their daughter, and then and it got real ugly, and then everything started to turn black because the old lead pipes in most of the homes in Flint, Michigan corroded, making the kids sick, and people showing up at the doctor, and this went on for like 4 years, and kids are getting sick and learning disabilities, and people are puking, and there's all kinds of E. coli. But then, okay, so they've been trying to clean this up. You're looking at the Flint, Michigan water treatment plant. The water in green is got to be cleansed, okay? They got these huge tanks that they filter the raw sewage from the potties of the people in Flint. So all of the raw fluid of sewage is in these huge, massive tanks, but the tanks were overflowing. They don't have enough tanks for all the sewage. So what happened was somebody accidentally hit the wrong button, and 2 million gallons of raw sewage, untreated, spilled into the Flint River. Well, where does the Flint River go? Into the water, the drinking water for your daughter in Flint, Michigan. So now some people still got the lead pipes. Everybody's now got the sewage water. Guess what? This happened on August the 18th. Oh, no. Fiji's got clean us. This happened on the 18th of August, Brock. This happened on the 18th of August. Today's the 26th, and they're finally letting the people know. I did a video about it, guys, 3 hours ago. And the one guy on there says, I live in Flint, and I still didn't even know this. It's because they just told you guys today in a small print. You got to read the small print. And what's the name of your guys' local newspaper? Sorry, what's the local newspaper in Flint? The Deadly Herald or something? Is it called the Deadly Herald? Is that right? The Deadly Herald? You mean the Daily Herald, right? Where's Michael Moore? I'm doing videos. Where's Michael Moore? Doesn't he care about Flint, Michigan? The city's damned, guys. Seriously, that's the title. The Flint, Michigan's damned. It's just damned. I don't know what else to say. I mean, get out of Flint, Michigan if you can. Okay, why is it? Is there demonic spirits lingering? Remember the bodies that were floating around in the water treatment plant like 2 years ago, and in the park, and missing people, and everywhere you turn around there's another problem? I mean, I can't understand this city. Who runs this city? I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even going to go down any political side. I'm just saying there's something wrong. The people deserve better. And get this, these guys, the city officials, they want to raise taxes again. The people are already being charged $100 a month for the sewage bill, just the sewage bill. And they want to raise it. They said they need to buy more tanks for all the crap. I mean, all the sewage, that's up there that needs to be treated, but it spills into the... Can we talk about... Guys, pray for Flint. Get out of Flint and pray for Flint. Okay. 12 people were killed today in Kenya as militants come across the border from Ethiopia and killed 12 people and injured 7, including killing children, and stole their 1,000 goats from the goat farmers, and then went back and took all the goats and went back into Kenya. So you got that going on. And then it gets even more bizarre. Yeah, you got these goat farmers in Kenya just minding their own business, taking care of their goats. And you got these Ethiopians rebels that come across the border, kill the goat farmers and take their 1,000 goats and go back into Ethiopia. There they are, taking them, away they go. What? But then we got this strange story in Colorado. And Pueblo, is it Pueblo, Colorado? Is that what it is? Or Pueblo, Colorado. Okay, so guys, last night you had this naked guy, a little bit of a zombie apocalypse situation here. A naked man from New Mexico, by the way. The naked man climbed 150-foot power tower, electrical tower. Employees at the Comanche power plant near Pueblo, Colorado, were called a naked man climbed 150 feet to the top of that tower and was screaming obscenities. First of all, how did he not get electrocuted? At 4 a.m. in the morning, this dude is on top of the power tower screaming obscenities, stark naked. According to the police, the 29-year-old man from New Mexico then couldn't get down. It took fire department and the big trucks and everybody to get in there and to finally, after several hours and negotiators, to get the man to come down. He was threatening to grab the power lines or to jump while using massive profanities, yelling at those trying to help. Man needs help. Pray for him, okay? There's something seriously wrong there. Something seriously wrong. Oh, by the way, just one real quick here. Tonight, Pastor Steve Leidig is going to join us. We're going to ask him about what's going on with the crazy demonic spirits, but also we're going to ask him some things about the Middle East and Hong Kong and some of the things going on around the world. Did you guys hear about this? The Houthi rebels just fired 10 ballistic missiles tonight at the Saudi Arabian airport. The Saudi-led coalition says they intercepted 6 of those missiles, but 4 of them got through. The Houthis fired at civilian targets in Saudi Arabia. Who funds the Houthis? Iran. And the rebels had fired several ballistic missiles at the airport in Saudi Arabia. The rebels fired 10 ballistic missiles at the airport, killing and wounding dozens of the group's military spokesperson said on Sunday. The Saudi-led coalition fighting the Houthis said that it had intercepted and destroyed 6 of the ballistic missiles that had been fired at the civilians. The Houthi militants continued targeting civilians with drones and ballistic missiles in an act of aggression and terrorism and a war crime according to international human law and the coalition. So there were no immediate details about any other casualties besides what originally happened, except that this is continuing to go on. That's right, the man behind it all, that man, Qasem Soleimani's behind it all. And so he continues. I mean, all of this, it's getting crazy. But then wait, there's more. Okay, so the Brexit's going to happen, right? England is going to Brexit. The UK is going to make a hard Brexit on Halloween. And they're not going to pay the $39 billion that the European Union wants to pay in penalties for leaving, because Trump has left England with a beautiful soft pillow landing called NAFTA. UK will join the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and maybe even Japan in this new trade alliance. And it's a great move for the UK. They're going to come out ahead for sure. But still, not everybody gets the message. You still got some socialist. It's scattered. It's tattered. It won't matter. Okay, the European Union, the global elitists are crying. But did you know that 100 companies that are in the United Kingdom have pulled out of England and moved to the Netherlands? They feel like they're going to be better off in Amsterdam than in London. The problem is they're going to be underneath the European Union with what's left of it, which is not going to be what it is today, because it won't have the UK money backing it. And I'm telling you, Germany's banks are broke, busted, and disgusted. Oh, by the way, did you see that? There's Hurricane Dorian is now becoming a monster. It could be a category 3. It is headed toward Puerto Rico. It is headed toward the Bahamas. It is headed toward Miami. And it's getting bigger and badder, and it is dangerous. And President Trump today asked a question. He just asked a question, and boy, the media is really trying to make the president look stupid. But he asked a question. He said, if we dropped a nuke in that hurricane and blew it up, would it stop the storm? He sat around with thought about it. He asked the Pentagon to check with the meteorologist, the climatologist, the seismologist. Maybe they even checked with a few cardiologists, a cosmetologist, a urologist, a cardiologist, a psychologist, an orthodontist, I don't know, ophthalmologist. I don't know who all they asked. I'm not joking, guys. Trump asked, is it okay to drop a nuke in this thing? Because he doesn't want it to hit Puerto Rico and do severe damage, causing millions and millions of dollars. And you know what the weather people said? They said yes. Heidi just came and told me, yes. If you nuke the hurricane, it will dissipate and stop the storm. It will suck the energy right out of this thing. So Trump sitting around, I don't know, the guy said what he just sits around thinks about stuff like that. But Trump asked the question and they said yes. Now some people are saying Trump said it was a lie over at Twitter. But actually meteorologists are coming out now and are saying that if you nuke a hurricane, it would actually stop. So, I don't know, did Trump ask the question or not? Well, whether he did or not, I don't know. But it would actually stop a hurricane. Something to think about as we go further. Well, you know what? Let's go get some help tonight. Let's go get Pastor Steve Leidig from Hyman, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be there on September the 29th, Sunday morning and Sunday night, along with Kevin Wilson, and that's going to be powerful. Hang on a second. So let's just let's get on the phone right now with Stevie Leidig, pastor of Tri-State Ministries in Hyman, Pennsylvania. What? Did Trump ask this question or not? But the thing is, meteorologists have answered it. Are you serious?
Pastor Paul Beckley, it's great to hear your voice.
It's great to hear your voice, Pastor Steve. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How everything going out in Indiana?
Everything's great in Indiana. I mean, I think we're gonna have a storm tonight, aren't we, Brock? Is that right? Are they predicting it? Yep, we're gonna have a storm. I'm just saying before we brought you on, Pastor Steve. Folks, this is Pastor Steve Leidig. This is one of the most dynamic, more powerful pastors in America. He has a great church, Tri-State Ministry Center, there in Hyman, Pennsylvania, just across the border from Maryland. Check out his website, www.tristateministries.com. And just a dynamic church. We go there every year. Can't wait. We're going to be there this coming September 29th, Sunday morning and Sunday night. Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock, Sunday night at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be doing some neat things. Kevin Wilson's going to be there as well. And Pastor Steve just got this great church, great family, great people. Pastor, did you hear Donald Trump? Some are saying Trump didn't ask the question, but Heidi just gave me an answer. The president was wondering, because there's a hurricane that is formed called Dorian, that's going to be headed toward Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, and maybe Miami. And I don't know, did he ask the question or not? Some are saying he did ask, some are saying he didn't. It doesn't matter. He asked, or maybe he didn't ask, but if you dropped a nuke in a hurricane, does it kill the hurricane? And meteorologists have responded and said, yes, it would. It actually would suck the energy and change the direction of the whole storm if you nuked a hurricane. I don't know, did Trump ask the question or not? I'm not sure, but the meteorologists have answered and said, yeah, it really would. It could save you millions of dollars. Pastor, how you doing?
Wow. Now that is unprecedented. I tell you, Pastor Paul, when I look at the landscape of our country, or the geopolitical situation, when I just look at the everyday headlines of the paper, what's coming to my heart, it's redundant in my heart. That everywhere I look, I see extremes. Extremes, Pastor Paul. All around the world, every subject, every category that I think of, I see extremes. And it's like, where do you want to start? Look at technology. It's being pushed to the extreme. Look at the weather, as you said, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, all the anomalies in outer space, the waves coming through the solar system. Everything in the heavenlies is pushed to the extremes. Things in the earth right now, the tectonic movement, pushed to the extreme. We know that immorality, I mean, come on, that's being pushed to the extreme. I have seen things in the last 6 months that I just can't believe is taking place in our country. I just can't believe it. And everywhere I look, if you name a category, civil unrest, just pick a category. Everything is extreme in the world right now, man. The fish washing up on the shore, the birds dropping out of the sky, divorce rates. I mean, where do you want to go? Everything's extreme. And to me, there's a convergence right now like anything we've ever seen before. And God's people better be ready, because Jesus said, when you see this, lift up your head, your redemption is drawing nigh.
Glory. That's what gets me excited. I mean, I don't want to, I'm with you. You look, we got sinkholes in Florida tonight. We got naked people climbing on 150-foot high power poles, yelling and cussing at the top of a 150-foot power pole. I mean, not a pole, a tower in Colorado. We got Omar and Talib freaking out on Israel. We've got wars and rumors of wars all over the Holy Land. Like you said, dead birds, dead fish, dead cows. We've got all kinds of wild, crazy stuff. Look at Hong Kong. What is going on? The communists. You got Hong Kong trying to remain free. I mean, what's your thought on Hong Kong? I want to get your thought on that.
Well, I saw a video and it was going viral. They were in the streets in Hong Kong singing the national anthem.
Glory!
And it was just unbelievable. And they were waving an American flag singing the national anthem. It did something to me, Pastor Paul. About 2 weeks ago, a missionary came to our church from India. And this missionary has never been to our church before. And he came on a Wednesday night. And he started talking to our church about the liberty he feels when he steps off the airplane into the United States of America. And Pastor Paul, I wish I had it recorded. Our technician wasn't there that night. It was one of the most articulate, in-depth messages. He only talked about it for about 10 minutes, but the excerpt was so riveting. He said, when I drive down the back roads of your countries, and here in where we live in Western Pennsylvania, he said, I don't feel the oppression. I don't feel the threats that I feel. He said, and when I drive into your neighborhoods, I see churches everywhere. He said, there's churches with crosses, and he said, you may not all believe the same as far as your denominations. He said, but you are all believing in Jesus Christ, and there's no idol temples here. And of course, we could talk about movie theaters, and we could pull idol temples. I understand Masonic places and all that, but he was just making the point of how he sees so much about the one true living God. Now, we don't see that. But he said over where he's from, it's such bondage and tyranny and constant threat and persecution. And when I look at Hong Kong and I see those people waving the American flag, I'm talking a Patrick Henry style revolution, man. They are singing the national anthem. Oh, say can you see? They're singing it on the streets of Hong Kong in the midst of a tyrannical government trying to press down. I tell you what, when people start getting a vision of freedom, it doesn't matter if they're small in number, Pastor Paul, because that does something in the human heart unlike anything can ever do. And when they start getting that vision of freedom, who knows where this is going to escalate to. I'm telling you, these people want to be free. They want freedom. And they're looking at America saying, and I know we got problems. I know sometimes this country's more confused than two left shoes, but we've been given freedom. We have God-given freedom. In the rest of the world, this missionary said, the rest of the world, that's why they want to come to America, because they sense the opportunity of freedom. And that's what they want over there. They've caught a vision of freedom. They're becoming patriots. I know we think that's an American word, but now they're becoming patriots. You know, when George Washington and his crew sailed across the Delaware and that revolution was on, the world didn't give them a chance. They didn't have a prayer. Well, they had a prayer, obviously, but the world didn't give them a chance to overthrowing. I mean, come on. But guess what? They fought. They fought and they stood, and God was with them. Now, I'm telling you, if these Hong Kong people start calling out on the name of the Lord, I don't know what's going on over there as far as faith
Stephen,
goes.
Pastor Steve, they are. This is one of the big deals. The people, the church in Hong Kong is powerful.
There you go.
And it's not just there, but the Christianity is spreading through China, and that's why President Xi. This is why Xi. A lot of people want to know, why is Xi having the problem he's having? Well, he started 2 years ago bulldozing the churches in mainland China. He started breaking crosses, burning crosses, throwing pastors in prison. That he was acting like he was going to let them have freedom, and he leaves a few up that are controlled by the government, and they have to preach a certain message, and Jesus knows that can't be the ultimate savior. But he bulldozed. He went after the underground churches. He has tormented them. But in Hong Kong, where they have had their freedom to some degree, autonomy, their church is strong. The Hong Kong faith in Christ is powerful, and that's why they understand freedom. They've had freedom. They do not want to go back into tyranny. They don't want to be under communism. These kids are standing out there with their sticks, and they're singing "Amazing Grace," and they're quoting the Star Spangled Banner. They're singing it. They know the Pledge of Allegiance better than some of our kids do, because we don't do it no more in school. And I tell you, you're right. They will win this thing. They're going to win this thing, because what are you going to do? You're going to slaughter 1.7 million protesters? I mean, they've got 1,000 armored trucks, tanks, and thousands of soldiers ready to roll in. Is that what China's really going to do? Because Hong Kong is who's paying the bills in that country, and now that country, Trump has played them like a violin. I mean, these guys, this is unbelievable. He's got Xi back to the corner. Now, I think we got to stand with the people of Hong Kong. And oh, by the way, there's 80,000 Americans that live in Hong Kong. We got to stand with the people of Hong Kong right now. And I'm with you. Freedom is not free, folks. And shame on the people who won't stand for the flag in the United States. Shame on these people who don't understand.
Amen.
They should spend about 3 weeks in India, and they'd come running back to this country begging to get back in. I know when this missionary, Stephen, is telling you the truth. When I was in India, you don't see a church. I mean, you got to hunt for one, and they're hiding them. But boy, you'll see a temple everywhere with these huge dragons with tongues 20 foot long hanging out, and they're worshiping every idol unknown to man. I mean, it's serious. I mean, we live in a great country. We got to stand with these kids.
That's exactly right. Amen. Amen.
Stephen, what are you going to do now? Okay, Israel's been, look, let's be honest. Okay, the Iranians are really surrounding Israel. They tried to attack with this drones. The Houthis are shooting at Saudi Arabia, but you've got you got Hamas in Gaza, you got Hezbollah in Lebanon, you got the Iranians, the Russians, and everybody surrounding Israel. It's really looking like Ezekiel 38. Where do you see this thing going in the Middle East? They're talking peace deal, but is it sudden destruction? I mean, what's your take on this?
Well, Pastor Paul, I'm with you. I'm watching that, and I talk to my father a lot, and I talk to different people that are very versed in eschatology, and I can't see how this is not it. Like when you're watching a fireworks show, it just keeps building, and you know the grand finale's coming, and then they'll send up some of those 6-inch salutes, and it kind of gets everybody's attention, and you know, okay, it's getting close, and then all of a sudden it happens, right? And we're just in that transition. I mean, the finale is coming. The finale is, all the pieces are moving into place, and like I said, the extremes are everywhere. Bible prophecy is firing on all cylinders. Honestly, it's almost like just a matter of when. It's a matter of when. I'm watching Russia right now. I'm listening to what's going on in Israel. It comes across the news. I'm watching the headlines from NASA and all these things. This conglomeration of what seems in some cases to be abstract is actually a part of the greater whole. We are absolutely heading fast. I mean lightning, breakneck speed fast to what the Bible talks about, the final battle. Now, there are a lot of people who disagree on the sequence of all these different biblical events, but we're there, Pastor Paul. We see it, we hear it, and some people don't want to talk about it because it scares them, but we all know it. We all feel it. Just feel it right now. You can just feel it.
Yeah, you're right. You can feel it. You can see it. It's hard to believe that you're living in the time that the Bible said would be the end. I mean, it's kind of, sort of like, really? I mean, am I living in this era? But folks, I mean, there's no doubt about it, Stephen, as you know, Pastor, you know there's no doubt about it, that we've never seen so many things that the Bible said would come to pass in the end. Oh, my Lord, we could talk about the sin. We could talk about the hatred. We could talk about the wickedness. And it's off the charts. That alone should tell you you're in the last days. It's like the days of Lot. It's like the days of Noah. But let me ask you a question. The Bible also talks about the heavens will be shaking. And all of a sudden, you know, Mike Around the World's been on here for 5-6 years, and he's been telling us, watch out, you're going to see this. I mean, it's unbelievable how these things are coming to pass now. I don't know if Planet X, you know, I don't understand it all. I just know that there's something happening. The gravitational pull, the heavens are shaking, just like the Bible said. The earth is coming apart, the volcanoes. So what is your thoughts on this Planet X thing, Nibiru? I mean, are we getting ready to see the catastrophic events of the Bible?
I think we are. I think we're right around, and again, I know there's much debate and much contention even over some of these things, but I believe we're right around the sixth seal. I really believe that. I believe that the latest slaughter of Christians that's happening right now around the world, we're talking right now, there are Christians being slaughtered or getting ready to be slaughtered. It's happening right now, real time. I believe that that's the fifth seal, Pastor Paul, and I'm not saying that my interpretation's without any wrinkles here. But I think we're right around the sixth seal. Now, we know that the sixth seal is the game changer. I mean, that's when no one goes to work the next morning, okay? When the sixth seal breaks, everything changes. Now, I've talked to Bob Fletcher extensively, and I'm sure you remember, I think you might have interviewed Bob Fletcher. Maybe not, but people that are listening to your show, I'm sure are familiar with him. I've talked with L.A. Marzulli, different guys, and Planet X is something I was fascinated about. I mean, I would seek these guys out to pick their brains because I knew that they traveled in that vein of ministry, that they watched the cosmos, they watched the signs, they got their ear tuned. Of course, you remember Robert Harrington. I'm going off memory here, but he was the admiral from the United States Navy. He was a space observer. He headed up, at that time, some of the most sophisticated research that had ever been done about Planet X, okay? He concluded that it's out there. He had a diagram. He had the elliptical orbit. I talked to Gil Brazard. Yeah, we have talked, many conversations, both private and on the radio, about Planet X. I do believe, Pastor Paul, that one day in the future, you can call it Planet X, you can call it Planet A, for all matters to me. I believe we're going to look up into the heavens, and we are going to see something. I talked to Doug Elwell. He wrote that book, Planet X and the Sign of the Coming of the Son of Man. And that's a very comprehensive book on Planet X. Obviously, I'm just throwing these names because I have really researched Planet X, man. And I mean, I've done so much research on it over the past 5, 6, 8 years, okay? Not here recently. But I do believe, my conclusion is that I believe there will be a heavenly celestial body. I don't know how big it's going to be. Some people have, Pastor Paul, some people have it down to the foot, I think, how big it's going to be. But I believe we're going to look up And at some point, Pastor Paul, I believe we've been climatized. I believe we've been getting acclimated to this. If you think over the last 10 years, and my dad and I followed this, and when it happens, I'll call him or I'll call Mike. He's up in Grafton there, and I'll say, "Did you catch that on the news?" Every now and then, the news says, "We think we've seen another planet-type object." It'll disappear for 5-6 months. It'll come back around. NASA thinks that there could be a planet. Then it'll disappear for 6-8 months. It'll come. If you just look at the evidence, there's something out there, and it's coming. And I believe one day we're going to look up, and we're going to see it, Pastor Paul. And it's going to be faint. I think it's going to be faint. And NASA will say, "Well, we're not quite sure, play it down." But I believe it's part of the end time scenario. I really do.
I think you're right without a question. And I'm going to say this. A couple scriptures you've brought up here. One, Luke 21 says, folks, in verse 11, well, we'll start at 10. It says, "Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven." Now, he doesn't stop there. Jesus goes on, talks about a lot of other stuff, including armies gathering around Jerusalem. Then he comes back to this. Same chapter, Luke 21 and verse 25. "There shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and distress upon the earth of nations with perplexity, the sea, the waves roaring, and men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking after those things which are coming upon the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken." What? "Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass," he said, "look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." So I think, Stephen, you just said here, we're going to see great signs and fearful sights in the heavens, specifically said by Jesus Christ. And then he comes back and says, look, there's going to be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, all kinds of stuff. And on the earth, confusion, wars, commotions, hatred. And oh, by the way, people are going to be dying of heart attacks for fear of things coming on earth. And I'm going to tell you something. Apophis is another one that, we're 10 years away, Stephen. We're 10 years away from Apophis. And if you study Apophis and you listen to NASA, they're nervous. Everywhere you turn now, they just held a huge conference in Washington. What do we do if Apophis hits us? Then they said, well, let's say it don't, but it's so close. What's coming with it? How many other rocks are coming along with this thing that will hit us or could hit us? I mean, this is a serious issue. And when I read Revelation, let's go to your sixth seal for 1 second, and I'm going to hear what you want to say on this. In Revelation, folks, Stephen just said he thinks we're almost ready for the sixth seal. I agree with Stephen because I've studied these seals, and there's no doubt seals 1, 2, 3, and 4, the horsemen seem to be galloping. I mean, the Antichrist spirit, the beast, the New World Order is rising. It isn't here, but it's getting in position. They're thinking about doing away with cash in Australia. They got a bill on the floor right now that's going to make Australia be the first cashless society. Can you imagine? They're setting up the beast kingdom. So you can look at the red, the horse, the white, the red, the black, the pale. You can look at number 5, talks about how all these things that are happening. But when you get to that sixth seal, Stephen, this is the game changer, because it says, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair. The moon became as blood. The stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts its untimely figs when it's shaken of a mighty wind. The heavens departed as a scroll when they rode together. Every mountain, every island was moved out of their places. Kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the chief captains, every mighty man, every bondman, every free man were hiding themselves in the dens and the rocks of the mountains. They were saying to the mountains, fall on us and hide us from the face of him sits on the throne, for the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come, who'll be able to stand." This is the game changer. Nobody goes to work the next day. You're right. There's a lot on the way. We could be living, Stephen, in the final decade before the coming of Christ. And that's not outside the realm of possibility, including a covenant could be signed with many, a third temple built, an Antichrist declaring he's God, 2 witnesses could come, preach, die, and be raptured. All of this can happen in the next decade if you're watching prophecy. What's your thoughts on that, including Nibiru and Apophis?
Pastor Paul, I really believe strongly, I believe this, that we were given, and first let me just throw this disclaimer out, okay? Disclaimer coming right here.
Disclaimer.
I do not know the date or the hour of Jesus Christ's return. So no matter what I say from this point on, I'm not saying that. Okay?
Right.
So here we go. I believe that from the time Jesus Christ was crucified, or the day that he rose again, which would have been 3 days later, or the time the Holy Spirit fell upon the church, which would have been 53 days later from the cross, okay?
Okay.
I believe that from one of those events, Jesus Christ died on the cross is the greatest event in the history of mankind. The greatest event. I know it was an event of demarcation. I believe from that day, or when he rose again, or when the church was born, mankind was given 2 God days to work this earth. And I believe that the entire story is a 7,000-year plan that mirrors the 7 days of creation. Now, we've got to take the last 1,000 years off because that's going to be the 1,000-year millennial reign when the Lamb will lay down with the wolf, and that's going to be the time that Jesus Christ rules on this earth until he has put all enemies under his feet. And will be loosed again for a season. There'll be another battle after that. I don't even know what you call that battle, but then we eventually go into eternity with God. I believe from the time Jesus Christ died on the cross, rose again, or the turkey stand, it would have been the same year, the same 53-day window, we were given 2 days. Now, we know that a day is 1,000 years, okay?
Okay.
A day is like 1,000 years. We know that scripture. Now, Hosea said in Hosea 6:2, he said, in 2 days I will revive you, and the 3rd day I will raise you up and live in my sight. Hosea would have said that standing at the 4,000th year, roughly. So he would have been looking down, almost saying we got 3 days left. Now, this is just my interpretation, okay? And I listen to people 30 days with all kinds of things. But I believe that we were given 2,000 years from the cross. Okay, so if that's true, that's 2,000 years from the time Jesus died on the cross until now. Right? But we haven't quite got there yet. We're not quite to 2,000 years from the cross. Now, what I'm talking about is birth.
Right. You're right.
Event.
Yeah, Jesus died on the cross approximately the year 33 AD. Approximately, let's say. If that's the case, we're 2033. Okay, so we're right now about 14 years out. Let's just say approximately. So we're in the ball. We're close, aren't we?
Oh my goodness, we're close. And here's the thing: I have researched greatly this subject, and there are scholars that dates actually range between, I think, it's 26 AD and 36 AD. And there are people that are convinced. There's a book right now making circulation, Pastor Paul. It's called Undeniable Biblical Proof that Jesus Christ returned to the earth exactly 2,000 years after his death, or his resurrection, or he died on the cross. So that's actually the title of the book. Now, this guy, this Gabriel Ansley guy, and again, I haven't read the book. I got a copy of the book. I haven't read it, and I'm not saying that this is all right. I'm just letting people know what's out there. Okay?
Right.
This guy loves the Lord. This guy loves. I'm not endorsing anything here, but this guy loves the Lord, and he has spent. In 2008, he wrote this book, and he had this great book that he wrote saying the Lord's return is in 2028. Now, I am not saying that, but he calculated that based on the 2,000 years from the cross, and he spent, oh my goodness, eons of time trying to figure out what year Jesus was crucified. I've looked into it pretty extensively, and I've came up there the window, and the most prominent and probable window would be probably 26 AD, I believe it is, to 33 AD, in that window.
That's right.
Now, In that context, some people want to minus 7 years. Some people want to minus 3.5 years. Some people don't minus 20. I can't get into all those rabbit trails, but I will say this. We are racing to the 2,000-year mark since Jesus Christ died on the cross. And I have discovered that every 2,000 years, God visits this world in a transcendent way, Pastor Paul, and the next way is going to be when he sets up his millennial kingdom. I'm telling you, it is coming as sure as people are listening to this tonight. We are seeing the end time signs fall over like dominoes, and people better get ready because it is happening right now.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's getting crazy out there. Is she listening tonight, Brock? Is she? Is she listening tonight? I want to put a shout out right now to my daughter-in-law, Brock's wife, Leanne, who was born today at 10:52 p.m. So, all right, give her 2 minutes, and we'll say happy birthday to her tonight, okay? All right. Pastor Stephen, you're all over this, and I love the 2000 theory because it makes so much sense when you think about, Peter was very specific when he said, remember this, be not ignorant of this one thing. Remember him saying this? Be not ignorant of this one thing. A day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a day. Why would you throw that in there? Well, especially when you read that chapter, he's talking about the time when the earth is going to melt with a fervent heat and things are going to be coming winding down for the planet's sake. But I think he was making a point. Guys, there's 6 days and then God rests. That seventh day will be the millennial reign. I believe that as well. And that's the 1,000 years or the one long day with God where Satan is bound in chains of darkness, not to be loosed for 1,000 years. Christ will set up his earthly kingdom and will live and reign 1,000 years on the planet, and he will rule this world with a rod of iron. And many nations will have to come, and they will come to Jerusalem, and they will have to come about the time of the Feast of the Tabernacles, which, oh, by the way, Zechariah prophesied there's a day coming when, people are going to come to worship the King in the city of the great King, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. He keeps throwing that out there. So there's some stuff I think us Christians got to learn, and there's some things the Jews got to learn, and we're all going to learn it. I think maybe during that millennial reign time, it takes the blood of Christ to get in the door, folks. But Stephen, you're on to something here with the 7 years. Again, we don't know exactly the day Christ died on the cross. Some are estimating it was April 3rd. It was April 3rd. And in the year 33 AD, I've seen that, but then again, there's others that said it's 4 years off, and I'm with you. It's okay. We'll go with the 2026 to 2033 7-year window there. I think you got a very good point. We don't know exact hour, day on that, but we're in the ballpark. And wow, I mean, there's too many things pointing to the end, isn't it?
There really is. And, the third temple is another interesting thing. You made reference to it there moments ago. When that third temple starts being built, I'll tell you what, man, I'm already convinced. But I guess some people aren't. Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange how you can talk to some people about all these things, and they'll say, well, every generation thought they were the last generation. And I'm telling you, we are a marked generation. Pastor Paul, what separates, and you know this, probably most of your audience does, so I'll just say it just to say it, but what separates this generation of people alive right now that are living, the generation of people that are alive on the earth right now are a marked generation, and they're unlike any generation in the history of planet Earth. And here's why. We are the only generation of people alive. Now, some weren't born when this happened, but we're alive now. We are the only generation of people that exist on this earth that have witnessed or been alive after it happened a rebirth of the nation of Israel. And that separates us from every other generation.
You have hit the nail on the head. It absolutely separates us from every generation known to mankind. We are the fig tree generation. And folks, you're in the 71st year of that rebirth of Israel as a nation. And Stephen, I've got a book in my library in here that was given to me by Alexander Davis, a man who gave me his entire life's library. And this book's 145 years old. It's the history of the church. It's one of the most comprehensive books I've ever seen. I started reading through it. It tells you the whole church. Well, it even starts back into Moses and takes you the whole children of Israel thing right up until the crucifixion and the birth of the early church. And it goes right on. And all the different popes and all the different branches off of different denominations, every one, Reformation, everything. And since the beginning of the early church, they preached the restitution of Israel as a nation. Matter of fact, do you remember what the disciples said to Jesus? He had risen from the dead, and Peter and the disciples said, Lord, have you come to restore now the nation of Israel? Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
And Jesus said, that is not for you to know, but for my Father only. But you need to know is you're going to receive power after the Holy Ghost comes upon you, and you're going to be witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, even to the uttermost part of the earth. I call that, Jesus is saying, that's not for the time or the season. That's not for you to know that right now, okay? Well, but he didn't say, no, that's not going to happen, because obviously they knew this was going to happen, because they hung around him for 3 years. And oh, by the way, the prophet Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones, was the prophecy of the rebirth of Israel as a nation. There's no question about that. We all know that. Matter of fact, this book tells us, Stephen, that the church, the early church, preached the restitution or the rebirth of Israel as part of the plan of God. The early church preached it, and the church world preached it until 1870. It was it was just as real as the return of Christ to the world. They preached that soon God was going to restore Israel as a nation. And now Jews are scattered all over the world and being persecuted all over the world for all these years. And in this book in 1870, they decided they missed God and said, you know, we have maybe misunderstood this prophecy. God's never going to restore Israel as a nation. We've misunderstood that prophecy. So they started to preach that they wouldn't be restored. And the book was was published in 1874. So those last 4 years of the book was when the change took place on that message. Had those guys hung in there a little bit longer, they would have seen 1948. And then they would have known, oh, this whole time they were preaching it right. They just lost faith right at the end. Now, you've just brought up the fact that Israel has now been rebirthed. And isn't it crazy that the city of Jerusalem was declared by the President of the United States as the capital of Israel? He's just declared the sovereignty of the Golan Heights as the property of Israel, no longer occupied. And Netanyahu's been begging him the last 2 weeks, please declare that Judea, which is half of the West Bank, is the property of Israel, which I think he's going to do it because it actually fulfills another prophecy in Matthew 24 about the Jews have to flee out of Judea in Matthew 24. So long story short, you just hit the ball out of the park. We are the fig tree generation. We are the generation of the coming of Christ, because we are different than any generation. And that is, we're here during the present day rebirth of Israel. Israel is key to the coming of Jesus Christ.
Well, that's very true, Pastor Paul. You know, if I took out a watch and I said, this is Stevie's watch. This is if I had one of them old clocks you put in your pocket, this is my clock right here. And I said, this is the clock I'm going by. This is my clock. This is the only clock I am going to run my operation, whatever it is I got going on, by this clock. And I set that clock on the desk, and everybody around me, if they wanted to get on my schedule, they'd have to get on my clock. They'd have to set their clock to my clock. It wouldn't matter what their clock said, because my clock is what I'm going to operate by. And Israel is God's timepiece. And That's just the way this thing is. And I receive it. I celebrate that. It's not a problem for me. And that is God's timepiece. It doesn't matter what Hollywood's saying. It doesn't matter what they're saying in the governments around the world. If you want to know where God's at and what God's doing and what time it is prophetically, you got to keep your eyes on God's timepiece.
Amen. Pastor Stephen, we're running out of time. Me and you could go for hours. It would be no problem for us. And I look forward to being there. We're going to be at your church, Lord willing, on September 29th, Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, Sunday night, 6 o'clock. And and Kevin Wilson's going to be there. You're bringing him in as well. Plus, your praise and worship singers are just insanely amazing. Folks, this is one of the most powerful churches that you will ever can attend. Is the Tri-State Ministry Church there. Pastor Stephen's been preaching there now for about a dozen years. I mean, you're a World Harvest Bible college graduate, ordained by Dr. Rod Parsley. And of course, he was ordained by Dr. Lester Sumrall, and I was ordained by Sumrall. And I mean, there's just some lot of faith and connection there. Pastor, you're on fire. I mean, what should the people expect? Where's the address? How do they get there?
Well, man, the address will start there. It's 2996. Let me think the address. Okay, we're at Hyman Road. We're at 232 Hyman Road. 232 Hyman Road. And you can Facebook us. You can Facebook us at Tri-State Ministry Center. You can add us on Facebook. And if you go to our Facebook, you will be able to find all of our information as we race towards this service. It's coming quick. This day's coming quick. We were on vacation. I thought, my goodness, we're almost in September, and it's racing towards us. And Pastor Paul, I was texting Pastor Caleb. He's a pastor here at the church, and I was getting ready to text him what I felt to call this meeting, and I stopped and I said, Lord, what should we call this meeting? I had an idea, but then I pressed pause, and I thought, no, Lord, what should we call this? And it took me maybe even, I don't know, maybe the better part of a day just kind of meditating over it. And the phrase I got in my heart is no turning back.
I love it.
We're calling this no turning back. It's a day we are going to encourage the saints to keep their eye on the prize, walk in low, spiritually speaking, and get ready and hang on, because this thing's coming and the Lord is getting ready to return.
I love it. No turning back, folks. No turning back. This is going to be a day. We're going to have a powerful day in the Lord. And Pastor Stephen, I think you said that you're going to let our channel, our YouTube channel, cover the services live. Is that right? Is that what you're wanting to do?
Yes. We're going to use, if we can get this worked out, and I'm sure it won't be a problem, because we run live all the time on Facebook, and we used to run on YouTube. We will just have it live on your YouTube channel, and you will be live right there. Your audience online can follow it, and it'll be awesome. I'm excited. Pastor Paul, I believe God brought us together somehow, some way, for some reason, and I just appreciate the relationship that we have, and I love you. I love your ministry. I love watching your videos. I think about you all the time. We have a lot of things in common, and I thank you for coming in, and thank you for just inviting me to be on the show tonight very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, we enjoy having you on, and you always bring the fire of God and the joy of the Lord and the victory, and we're not turning back, brother. We're going all the way. We're going all the way.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor, for coming on, being with us, and we'll be in touch with you soon, and look forward to seeing you in Hyman, Pennsylvania.
All right, we love you, Pastor Paul. God bless.
All right, folks, you heard it. Pastor Steve Leidig. Everybody, you need to go to Hyman this year. Seriously. Let's jam the place. Let's pack it. Pastor Stevie, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Pastor Steve Leidig Church. And you have to understand something. He has a church of 400 people in a town of 1,500. This kid's on fire. I call him a kid because he's in his mid-30s, and now I'm starting to... What's the matter, Brock? What did I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? I'm sorry, am I still live? Am I back? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't. No, we're off the air. We're off the air. We're not, though. I'm sorry, we're not live. I am refreshing. I just did. We're not live. We've lost it. 2,500 people and we lost it. Oh, man.